Today's topic is water weight, how certain foods can change your weight. And I think this is something that's come up with a couple of clients recently, so it's important to talk about because when people are trying to lose weight, they can potentially get a little discouraged if their weight fluctuates up by a couple of pounds. So I think it's good to talk about because it's important to realize that your weight can potentially, especially if you've got an intolerance you don't know about, fluctuate by 1 to 4 or 5 pounds a day. And this is something that you've experienced, isn't it, James?
Oh, massive. I am the world's worst for water weight retention. I can give you specific examples from the last 4 to 5 days as well. So, one study suggests that your water weight can fluctuate by up to 5% daily. So, that's good to know. So, up to 5% daily is perfectly normal. That's what one of the studies shows. And then there's more anecdotal evidence just shows water weight can make a person's weight fluctuate by as much as 1 to 5 pounds a day, too. I can be part of that anecdotal evidence. And a very specific example is this. So on Friday, I weighed myself because I weighed myself back from South Africa. I put on 1.5 kilos. I know from when before I weighed myself. So I weighed at 69.7 kilos on Friday morning. Saturday morning, I weighed in at 71.4. Right? So
See, if you were one of my clients and then you put that, you'd be messaging me saying, Josh, what's happened? I'm really upset. Why haven't I lost weight?
exactly. But I know what happened is because I made a conscious decision to go and eat out the whole world of pick and mix, right? From the cinema on Friday night. I went to see Dune 2. If you haven't seen the movie, what a great movie that was. The Last Third, I think, is the most epic of sci-fi movies I've seen in a long, long time. So I absolutely loved it. It was really, really good. But I, for example, have intolerances to dairy and a few other bits of wheat and other things that go in my body. My body just reacts badly to certain foods, and therefore I put on water weight and bloat immensely. That's the reaction I have. My body just reacts to it.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out that even if you are within your maintenance or eating at a deficit, if you eat certain things, your weight can still fluctuate. Because I think people are potentially listening and go, well, of course, if you ate a load of pick and mix, that's a lot of calories, you would have put weight on. Well, not necessarily, because you might have still been within your maintenance.
And I was. That's a really good point because I knew I was going out and I was going to just binge that night because I do. So like you made me think, well, James, if you're intolerant to dairy, why are you eating pick and mix and chocolate and stuff like? Because every now and then, guys, I just want to. That's the best way to put it, right? It is because I want to because I don't want to miss out on certain things in life, and you have to, I make a conscious decision about when I'm going to do it. So I just now know that I'm going to put a couple of kilos on. It'll be water weight. I just eat sensibly the next couple of days and it goes again. So I just know that cycle. So do I do it every week? No. Do I do it every day? No. Once in a blue moon, absolutely I do it. So I just know it. So for me, it's inflammation in the body. I know my body reacts to it, and I put on literally about 2 to 3 kilos sometimes from what I've seen in the past of how it goes when I eat certain foods. And pick and mix is one of them because of the chocolate and the dairy. That's why I don't eat milk chocolate 90% of the time because it affects me in that way. So you've got to understand that if you're seeing the weight scale not go down, and you're always feeling kind of bloated, well, look at the food you're eating. I know from personal experience that I put on weight when I eat foods I'm intolerant to, but a lot of people I know aren't aware of foods that they may be intolerant to, or aren't aware that certain foods affect them. So my question is for those people who like constantly feel bloated or feel like they're retaining water, what are the foods that you're eating consistently that it might be causing this? Because it might be something to do with the foods. Yes, it could be the environment too or something. I don't know. But if we're looking specifically at foods, right, what could that be doing to affect your weight? And it may be hindering your weight loss progress. You may be losing fat, but you're getting disheartened because the scales isn't moving because of this extra water weight.
Yeah, exactly. So top things to look at obviously are dairy, wheat, gluten. Aren't you allergic to tomatoes as well? I don't know how much that affects your weight, but that's something that, alcohol obviously is a huge thing. Alcohol will affect your recovery, your sleep, which again also has a big effect on weight loss as well. So you got to look at that. Foods that are higher in salt are going to affect it. That's going to help you store water as well. So there's so much you need to look at. So essentially, I think what we're saying is don't get discouraged if the scale isn't moving or if it has gone up a bit. You got to look back and go, okay, what did I eat? What did I drink? And look for patterns, because you may potentially have an intolerance in there that you don't know about. Would you agree?
I 100% agree, and that's somebody who suffers from horrendous amounts of intolerances. Like, my worst nemesis is pizza. Like, just think of that. Like, literally, pizza, tomatoes, cheese, right? Bread. It's like it's everything in one go. So what I do know is this: is if I eat something like a Domino's pizza, right, or if I go for a whole pizza, you think, why, James? Why have you just done that to yourself? Trust me, every now and then you just want to, right? Because it's like classic thing, but I tend to 99% of the time avoid it because of that processed nature of the whole ingredients in there. I've seen myself go 3 to 4 kilos in one sitting. I have seen that happen overnight, and I retain this water for about 4 to 5 days afterwards. Now, if I have a really fresh Italian pizza that's homemade, freshly made, it mitigates the effect. It's more like a kilo I put on the following day. So the quality of the ingredients and the type of ingredients plays a big part of what I'm doing and the water weight I do put on. So, but the first thing is awareness. You may not be aware that you're retaining water, and you may not be aware that you're retaining water from certain foods. So the question is you've got to start thinking about this and thinking about this process. Go, what caused this to happen? So if one day you're feeling great and you're feeling, oh my God, I'm feeling really slim, looking yourself in the mirror going, yeah, look, I'm looking great. Then the next day, oh my God, I'm retaining water. Why am I retaining water? Could be multiple reasons, but start off with the food and think about what you ate the night before. And if it's a consistent pattern, be aware of that.
Yeah. Or maybe 2 days before. I think the best way, you don't necessarily have to track as in calorie track, but track as in keep a food diary. Would be a good thing to do, so you know exactly what you've eaten and drunk, because it won't necessarily happen the day after. It depends on how long your digestive cycle is, potentially. It could have been what you ate 2 days ago. So I think a food diary would be a really good way to go. I was just going to say, James, if somebody wanted to talk to you and get information from you, they'd just feed you pizza, I think would be the way to go.
Milk and cream would be the worst. Milk and cream and ice cream. If you want to see instant reactions in terms of vomit coming up everywhere, that's how badly I react to those things. It's crazy. It's mental how badly it affects me. I think somebody accidentally gave me a coffee with dairy milk in it, not the chocolate, as in just dairy, as in milk. So that's just real milk into it. Yeah. I tasted it and I was like, this tastes a bit off. Is it oat milk? And then with a couple of seconds, boom, straight back up.
Yeah, that's a severe intolerance, that is, which you may not get.
Exactly, it is. And then also, as my mum is trying to call me on my phone right now, I had a conversation with my little nephew, Theo. He is suffering really badly from intolerances, like horrendously so. So he has got intolerances to dairy and a mixture of other things, but so much so that if he just touches somebody who's had these things, he comes up in hives. It comes up with a massive rash. Yeah, honestly, it's horrendous. It's the poor little kid has got worse intolerances than me. Worse intolerances than me and my dad. So yeah, he's inherited them, but in a much worse state. So eggs, dairy, you name it. It's off the charts.
You got eggs. Yes, sorry, I missed out on that. That's obviously another one people can be intolerant to as well. Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we're saying is, if you see your weight fluctuate a few pounds or a kilo or two up and down each day, don't get discouraged. Keep a food diary, track what you're eating, because you could be potentially looking at a food intolerance. Doesn't mean it's a severe one, but it could be a minor intolerance which makes you store water weight. So yeah, make some changes. You might have to cut a couple of things out, but ultimately that might be for the best. Would you agree, James?
I agree. And just like I said, learn from somebody's mistakes here and also experience with it, who's lived with it his entire life pretty much. So and I didn't really understand that until later on in life when I started looking at nutrition and playing with my own nutrition, because I thought it was all normal. I thought it was just just always carry that little bit of, always used to carry that little bit of water weight, always did. But it wasn't until I realized what foods caused it that I started to go away.
Yep, exactly. So start finding out your food triggers. That is it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you want to find out more about our system of training, go to strengthmatters.com/system.